I'm already a millionaire in my mind. I don't see it yet, but I believe it now. In the same way a seed is called by its finished form, I'm accepting my divine inheritance as a child of God. I'm meant to have life and have it more abundantly. My treasure on earth shall correspond directly to the treasure in the heaven of my mind. Abundance is my birthright. Ashe, amen, and so it is. My name is Julian Gordon, and I'm author of Rich and Righteous: Spiritual Secrets to Mastering Money, Manifestation, and Your Mind. After becoming a multimillionaire through real estate investing, I was moved by God at the beginning of the pandemic to share my money mindset that allowed me to quit my job in January of 2009 at the bottom of the last recession and achieve full financial freedom. I own my mental real estate before I own any physical real estate. This book is like some of your favorites: Rich Dad, Poor Dad, As a Man Thinketh, Think and Grow Rich, and the Bible all in one. But the divine downloads and thoughts that are in here are 100% original and came for a 6-month period at the beginning of the pandemic. This book is normally $100 on Amazon if you went there right now, but I want to give you access to it for free by inviting you to our next reading group. Yes, the reading group is 100% free. Every weekday for 100 days straight, I'll be reading and discussing the 10 money commandments in the book that make money come to you in your life easily, more frequently, and abundantly. And it will take about 30 to 45 minutes as we read 3 to 5 pages per day until we finish the book and reprogram your mind around money. Why 100 days? Well, if you are 30 years old, you've lived for 10,950 days. And we have to deprogram and reprogram the negative, scarcity-based money mindset society has taught you. And I believe I can do that in just 1% of the time in about 100 days. I'm done with shelf help. You know, when you buy a book to change your life, but you never read it, it just sits on your bookshelf and collects a whole bunch of dust. We off that. When is the last time you had an author actually read their book to you out loud because they cared about you getting the information in your soul? I'm not just here to get this book in your hands. More importantly, I want to get it in your head and your heart, because that's where the real transformation occurs, in the conscious and the subconscious mind. As scripture says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is not the type of book that you just read once. To renew the subconscious mind requires repetition over and over and over. So if you joined us last time, I encourage you to join us again. I myself have read this book over 10 times already. So click the link to join our next reading group, and when you sign up, I'm gonna give you the first 2 chapters of the book for absolutely free on what is money and abundance is your birthright, so that you can start your journey to a more abundant life today.
What's good, everybody? What's good? This is your boy Thavian, tuning in to another day of the reading of the Rich and Righteous. Day 6. Day 6. We're starting day 6, the reading of the Rich and Righteous. Just to give you a heads up, there are 10 money commandments that we will be reading through during this 100-day challenge. Commandments, meaning these are 10 things that we need to read and practice so money can come to us. 10 money commandments. It's going to be money commandment number 1. There's about 5 sections in each commandment chapter. Commandment number 1 is measure. Money commandment number 2 is think. Money commandment number 3 is feel. Money commandment number 4 is speak. Money commandment number 5 is ask. Money commandment number 6 is hold. Money commandment number 7 is use. Money commandment number 8 is manifest. Money commandment number 9 is attract. And money commandment number 10 is enjoy. So this is going to bring us all the way through our 100-day challenge of reading. Each of these money commandment chapters has several sections and modules that we'll be going over. So we'll definitely go into that 90 to 100-day range, but just want y'all to be aware of what to expect and what's to come. These are going to be some great readings. These money commandments are essential. So if you're new and you just joined us on day 6, go back and check out the previous readings. Like I said, day 5 was all about why, the real reason you're not wealthy yet. I'm going to go ahead and get started with these money commandments. We're going to practice so money can come to us. come to us. We don't have to chase money. Money's going to come to us. Let's get started.
Commandment number 1, measure. How the rich and righteous measure money and wealth. Material versus spiritual. Material wealth versus spiritual wealth. Do not store up for yourselves treasure on earth where moths and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasure in heaven where moths and vermin do not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will also be. Matthew 6:19-20. On any journey, it is important to know your desired destination in advance. If you are confused about where you're going, you will be headed nowhere fast. What gets measured is what gets done. There are many ways to measure wealth: cash savings, active income, passive income, net worth, personal cash flow, business valuation, annual growth rate, retirement age, proximity to debt freedom, and debt to income ratio, among others. For one person, rich could mean $1 million saved, whereas another person may think rich is $1 million in income per year. The success metric you anchor your definition of wealth on will dictate your actions. Wealth is not just having a lot of cash. Cash is one of the lowest forms of wealth there is. The scripture says, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will also be." Whatever you genuinely love is wealth to you. At some point in your life, hopefully you've experienced a moment where you said, "I wouldn't trade anything in the world for this moment." That moment, which is now in your memory bank, was so valuable that you could never put a price tag on it. An accumulation of moments and memories like this is true wealth. They can never rust or rot or be taken away. Whereas most people are seeking to secure the bag, I am seeking to share it. Giving and receiving is a cycle. God keeps giving to me and through me because it knows that the buck does not stop here. God knows that I will use the money or stored energy for the greatest good possible as quickly as I can. Get it, but then give it. When I say give, I don't just mean donate to a nonprofit. Donating is only plus one on the money maximization matrix, which we will discuss in commandment number 7. By give, I mean invest, lend, circulate, and multiply. Money is useless unless you use it. True security is not securing a lot of money in the bank. Saving money beyond your emergency fund is actually a sign of financial insecurity. True security is knowing how to access God, the infinite source of supply, and how to manifest what you need on demand. Which would you rather have, materials or the ability to materialize? Secure the bag and spread the wealth by investing in ideals, ideas, individuals, and investments you believe in. There are two types of wealth, but the world only teaches us one. In addition to material wealth, there is also spiritual wealth. Material wealth is how much stored energy you accumulated by the time you die. Spiritual wealth is how much good energy you circulated while you were alive. The reason spiritual wealth gets overlooked is because it's not as measurable as material wealth. Out of sight, out of mind. Everyone knows their income, but it is harder to measure impact. Spiritual wealth is based on how full one's memory bank is with good memories, whereas material wealth is based on how much someone has filled their monetary bank. Spiritual wealth is the source of all wealth because everything material that God didn't make directly came from the mind of man. We see abundance in an idea, and from there, we seek to create a real asset. When I say rich in this book, I mean spiritually and materially rich in that particular order. Spiritually rich is in the heaven of your mind, materially rich is on earth. Spiritually rich comes from an inner joy. Materially rich usually comes from a job. Spiritually rich is measured in meaning that lasts forever. Materially rich is measured in money that comes and goes. Spiritual wealth is measured by your self-worth regardless of how much money you have. Material wealth is measured by your net worth. Spiritual wealth is in your thinking. Material wealth is in your things. Spiritual wealth or wellness can't be taken away. It is stored in your memory bank and God's memory bank. It is what you've given while you were alive, and what you've given away can never be taken away from you. Material wealth can be stolen, rust, or eaten by moths. Nobody will care or know what was in your bank account when you die. Spiritual wealth comes from good deeds, as in real positive impact. Material wealth has good deeds, as in real estate. Spiritual wealth is infinite and endless. Material wealth appears to be scarce or limited and therefore never enough. Spiritual wealth is how you make money. Material wealth is how much money you make. Isaiah 55:2 says, "Why spend money on what is not bread, and your labor on what does not satisfy? How you make money and why are more important than how much money you make. No amount of money feels like enough when you're doing work you hate. Many have achieved financial or material wealth at the cost of their soul. They are willing to do things that went against their conscious and true nature to make an extra buck. What good is it for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? However, rich and righteous souls are never for sale. We never work for money or go against ourselves to acquire money. Money is economic oxygen. It is supposed to give life, not take it. Most people are still in a financial paradigm where they trade time for money. Even if you love what you're doing, that paradigm can still cause you to be unhappy. In the time for money model, you feel like you simply can't stop. If you stop, the money stops. This is especially critical for passion based and service based entrepreneurs who have yet to figure out how to monetize their minds versus their time. This is how passion can become a problem. All money is not good money if you compromise who you are in pursuit of it. The more the merrier is not always true. If it feels like a chore, subconsciously, you won't want more. If it feels like fun, you will want to increase your funds. People will subconsciously repel and reject more money when limited by the time for money model because, in their mind, more money, which is what they want, also equates to more time working, which is what they hate. For those who don't love what they do, you have to ask yourself if making $50,000 per year doing something you love is more valuable than earning $1,000 a year doing something you hate. And be honest with yourself. If you value how much money you make over how you make it, then accept it and don't complain. Keep in mind that the trade off isn't always between passion and profit. There are ways to make $100,000 a year doing what you love if you believe it is possible. No matter what your passion is, I can find at least 5 people in the world who are living comfortably off of it. The question is not, can I make money doing what I love? The question is, do I love my passion enough that I will do whatever it takes to find out how to monetize it so that I can do what I love even more? We are not just seeking a job we love, we are seeking joy. And since we spend so much time working, then we want our job to be joyful. Matthew 18:3 says, "Unless ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall never enter the kingdom of heaven." You may be able to buy a little temporary happiness with material wealth, but you can't buy your way into heaven. Heaven is not a place, it is a state of mind. There are all kinds of books on happiness, but I think the pursuit of happiness is leading us astray. Children don't pursue happiness. They experience happiness because they are joy, and happiness is a side effect of joy. Happiness is based on what happens externally, whereas joy is who I am being and comes from within. Joy is internal. It is not based on what happens externally. If your happiness is based on what happens, then it is bound to fluctuate up and down because you don't control what happens. Your money may go up and down throughout your life, and you don't want your emotional state to be connected to something so unpredictable. That's like connecting your happiness to the weather, which is something you can't control. It's sunny, so I'm happy. It's cloudy, so I'm sad. You can be joyful regardless of the weather and whether or not you have money. True joy doesn't fluctuate with the ups and downs of the stock market or your bank account balance. We can get the car, the clothes, or the lover we want using money, but these are all outward projections of the joy we truly seek within. If my happiness is based on getting what I want, I know that I don't always get what I want, so I don't want my feelings to be based on that. Happiness is like the wavy top of the ocean, whereas joy is the undisturbed depth. Joy is to happiness what unconditional love is to romantic love. Joy and unconditional love come from within. Joy comes from spiritual wealth and isn't based on external conditions. Both joy and happiness are beautiful, but I would rather cultivate joy from within than pursue happiness without. Spiritual wealth is within. It is an accumulation of gratitude and good deeds in the heart, not just good deeds on houses. We can recognize the wealth that we already have by just thinking about all the things that we have to be thankful for right now in this moment. Just consider how all things are working together for your good, from the air you are breathing, to the food you eat, to the roof over your head, to the technology in your hand. I honor how God is blessing me through a daily ritual called my bank account. It's another name for a gratitude journal. Every day I deposit millionaire moments into my bank account, and I've retrained my mind to actively look for things to be grateful for every day rather than passively waiting for things to happen. I've documented over 20,000 moments of gratitude since beginning the practice in April of 2011. There's always something to be grateful for, whether it is big or small. In addition to appreciating how God is showing up for you, you can also add to your spiritual wealth through good deeds unto others. Once you recognize the abundance in your life, that can compel you to be good and do good for others. It could be as simple as holding the door open for someone when you don't have to, over tipping a waiter, calling someone you love, volunteering, donating money, helping someone move, or holding space for someone in need. Good deeds can never be taken away from you. They only accumulate and appreciate. And they also serve as moments of potential gratitude for the other party involved, which adds to their spiritual wealth and feeling of being supported by God or the universe through you. Through gratitude and appreciating what we have, we generate spiritual wealth. And when we pass that feeling on to others, we generate spiritual wealth. Open your rituals workbook and complete the spiritual wealth in God's memory bank exercise.
All right, some takeaways from this portion of the reading. We're going to continue on with another section here, but basically we talked about material versus spiritual. Material versus spiritual. And one thing that kind of stood out to me here is material, how much money you make. Everybody concerned about how much money they make. You know, I make 100,000 a year. I make 200,000 a year. But your spiritual wealth is, how did you make that $200? Do you feel good about the way you made that 200? You know, a lot of people making a lot of money material wise, but they don't feel spiritually connected on how they made that money. We're going to keep the reading going. Next section, your personal internal rate of return.
Your personal internal rate of return. Then God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and multiply." Genesis 1:28. In the parable of the talents, Matthew 25:14-30, the first servant was given 5 talents and multiplied it into 10. The second servant was given 2 talents and multiplied it into 4. To both of them, the master replied, "Well done, good and faithful servant." The third servant was given 1 talent, buried it, and then returned the 1 talent back to his master. The master replied, "You wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have scattered no seed. Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming, I should have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away, and cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness." This parable shows that saving money in a bank is the worst thing you can do next to burying it or putting it under a mattress. When you bury something, it is dead, and that is what you do when you save money just for the sake of saving. This is why money is called dead president. As Genesis 1:28 says, "Be fruitful and multiply." The faithful servants both multiplied their money by doubling what they were given. The master did not compare their results based on quantity, for he knew that he gave more to one than the other to begin with. Instead, he honored them both based on their personal internal rates of return, which were identical at 100%. Formal education didn't teach us much, but one thing I did learn was keep your eyes on your own paper. If the servant who only received 1 talent had returned with 2, the master would have said, "Well done, good and faithful servant." This is why we can never compare our material wealth to anyone else's. We are all created equal, but we aren't all given equal. Only God knows why. Internal rate of return, or IRR, is a financial metric that measures the financial growth of a cash flow producing asset based on an initial investment over time. When Tupac said, "I'm trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, that is a 566% rate of return on a 15-cent investment. But IRR can also be applied to your personal financial growth. I call your personal version of IRR your personal internal rate of return, or PIRR. It measures the average annual growth rate of your money over a time period. Your personal internal rate of return is how fast and frequently money returns to you. It is a function of your financial frequency and your financial literacy. Your financial frequency is your feeling about money on a scale of abundance to scarcity. Your financial literacy is your thinking about money on a scale of wealth consciousness to poverty consciousness. Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, and SolarCity, had a PIRR of 44.44% between 2002 and 2021. He is operating at one of the highest levels of wealth consciousness ever. And as a result, on January 6, 2021, he became the world's richest man, surpassing Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon. In 2002, Elon cashed out of PayPal when it was bought by eBay and pocketed $180 million. In an interview, he said, "My proceeds from the PayPal acquisition were $180 million. I put $100 million in SpaceX, $70 million in Tesla, and $10 million in SolarCity. I had to borrow money for rent. Poor people say I'm too broke to invest. Wealthy people say I invest until I'm broke." Proverbs 11:28 adds, "One person gives freely, yet gains even more. Another withholds unduly, but comes to poverty." You're not broke. However, your financial system may be broken. You were perfect, whole, and complete as God created you. Obviously, Musk has wealth consciousness and an abundance mindset. Most people think that it is his money that allows him to think and move like this, when in fact, it is the opposite. How he thought and moved allowed him to create the wealth that he has today. By January of 2021, he grew that $180 million to $194.8 billion, which is more than 1,000 times greater in just 20 years. Does Elon Musk have $194.8 billion in cash in his personal bank account? No. A majority of Musk's net worth is in use, still circulating in his companies as equity, not in a bank account as cash just sitting there doing nothing. While your net worth does include cash, you want your net worth to include assets that are working for you, like your own companies, stocks, and real estate. I'm not sure he would ever want 194.8 billion in cash because he wouldn't know how to deploy that money any better than he is already doing through his own companies. Any net worth beyond the cash in your bank account should be circulating towards ideals, ideas, individuals, and investments you believe are doing good or God's work. To become wealthy, you must have a vision for what you want to create as a child of the Creator. Children are not the only things we are meant to create while we are here on earth. In fact, children are one of the easiest creations to manifest. That can happen in 5 minutes if you're not careful. Musk is creating solutions to big problems. Tesla is seeking to revolutionize the auto industry and move us off of fossil fuels. Solar City is seeking to help us generate more renewable energy. And SpaceX is helping with space travel to get the heaven out of here if the first two don't work. Your wealth will be directly proportional to the size of the problems you solve. And electric cars and solar panels solve two of the world's biggest problems. I don't keep a lot of cash. I have an emergency fund that covers 6 months of living expenses in an account at a small bank in another state that I can't easily access. And then I keep 2 months worth of cash in my checking account that is revolving. It's only enough to cover my monthly expenses like cell phone, groceries, car notes, etc. I don't have a housing expense because the rents from all of my multifamily homes cover my principal, interest, taxes, insurance, capital expenditures, repair reserves, and vacancy rate. Everything else goes into a sacred stash, a temporary savings account. I'm only holding it in a temporary account until I find the right opportunity to invest it in, such as my own company's assets, real estate, other entrepreneurial ventures, and sometimes stocks. I'll show you how to set this all up as part of the cash flow framework in commandment number 6. The more money you are blessed with doesn't necessarily make wealth building easier from a PIRR standpoint. Working class people have a not enough money challenge. Middle class people have a not enough income streams challenge. And rich people have a not enough good investments challenge. Money is magnetic. It attracts more money. The wealthier you are, the better the deals that come to you. But do you have enough good deals to deploy the money into so that it is not sitting? It is easier to turn $100 into $140 in a year than it is to turn $1 million into $1.4 million, though the growth rate is the same at 40%. The wealthier person has to employ 10,000 Benjamin Franklins or $100 bills productively, whereas the person with $100 only has to employ one. Luke 12:48 says, "For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall much be required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more." Being rich comes with more freedom, but it also comes with more responsibility. Finding a vision big enough or enough good investments to invest in becomes the new challenge. Nonetheless, it is a good problem to have. We are meant to be fruitful and multiply money. When you start to understand that money is just stored energy, that it is useless unless you use it, and that you are meant to resurrect dead presidents and give cash consciousness, things will start to shift. You are increasing both your financial frequency and financial literacy by reading this book and applying these principles. Because of that, I know your personal internal rate of return will increase accordingly. I encourage you to pick an asset class that you want to master and make that your primary way of multiplying money. And then find 2 or 3 other asset classes to invest in to diversify your portfolio. You don't always have to be the CEO or build the asset from scratch. Right now, my primary asset class is my business, and then my secondary asset classes include multifamily real estate, and finally, stocks and equity stakes in startup companies. The goal is to have all of your financial instruments in harmony. In commandment number 7, I'll show you the 6 ways to acquire more cash flowing assets. Open your rituals workbook and complete your personal internal rate of return exercise.
What are your takeaways? Day 6 is officially in the books. What are your takeaways? For my investment group, the trappers, the section about Elon Musk should resonate with all of us. How he initially started one company, sold for a profit, and then invested all the money into 3 different new startups because he was constantly reinvesting his money. Another section that resonated with me is we are meant to be fruitful and multiply. I'm pretty sure we've heard that a lot. That type of term is always circulating in the community and in our surroundings. We are meant to be fruitful and multiply money. When we start to understand that money is just stored energy, that it is useless unless it is in use. And then Julian goes on to say, I encourage you to pick an asset class that you want to master and make it your primary way of multiplying money. From trappers in the Patreon, I feel like that's where we are. We are going to master this asset class and multiply our money. But once we multiply our money, we're not going to sit on the money. We're going to find different asset classes to invest it more and keep it in circulation to grow our wealth. The goal is to have all of your financial instruments in harmony. Day 6, officially in the books. What are your takeaways? Comment below. I encourage you to grab the book. A lot of great gems in here that you can't really see through the call on the YouTube. But if you have your book and you're following along, it's definitely going to help you tap into these concepts. Day 6, officially in the books. Make sure you comment below. What did you see that we didn't see? We want to know. We want to tune in to what you're tuning into. I want you to tune into what I'm tuning into. See y'all on the next read, day 7. Salute.